do something that like is truly impressive, you have to have like some talking points. What is so impressive that
Do way more cold outreach. If you need feedback, just do so much cold outreach it makes you feel sick.
don't be in the beginning so picky. Meet also the people that like seem wrong because you never know.
Cold outreach, in my opinion, does not mean mass copy and paste. LinkedIn, in my experience, has about a 5% conversion rate. So if you've reached out to 100 people, 5 people should have responded. They don't need to be in your network. They can be randoms, you know? At the end of the day, the vast majority of startups fail, and they need as much help as possible at the beginning. We are back with another episode of the Do As I Say, Not As I Did podcast. And as always, the name kind of explains the show. We're giving you advice based on everything we did wrong the first time. Each week I bring on founders, investors, product experts, just really smart people who know how to build great businesses so that together we can answer the questions you sent through about growing your own business. What are the challenges in your lives and your businesses that you'd like us to workshop? So if you do have questions, if you do have fires you're trying to put out, send them through in an email and we're going to workshop them. So send them through to podcast@joelditrapani.com. And I know that is a hard name to spell. So as always, I'm going to throw that up on the screen and I'm going to put that in the show notes. I'm your host, Joel Ditrapani, and I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Vigo, which is an edtech scale-up which is going through Australia and the UK, and we're now focused on the US, the promised land. And on top of that, I'm an advisor and a coach in the product space, helping startups and businesses work out how to actually run great product teams, which subsequently means I help them build great products. And today, I'm joined by my friend, Cristo Pajust. Cristo is a serial entrepreneur and a complete digital nomad, continually moving to a new country around the world. Cristo has had a lot of success in the startup world. Early in his career, he started a business, took it through Techstars, and then sold it. Afterwards, he worked for the infamous Rocket Internet and launched Food Panda from scratch and led it to become a market leader in food ordering in Asia. Since then, Cristo has led the expansion of a lot of other major businesses around the world, including Groupon, Revolut, and Uber, just to mention a few. And when I met Cristo, he was actually running one of the top accelerators in Australia, which I had just joined. I actually remember when I first met Cristo, I was completely terrified because I felt like he held my life in his hands at that point in time. But since then, we've become close friends and we still catch up every month, even after 6 years. And every month I do speak to Cristo, he is in a different country. So it's always like a bit of a lottery of where I'm going to be speaking to him in the world. Cristo is an absolute expert at building 0 to 1 and getting shit done. So let's jump into it. Cristo, welcome. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for the great intro. Wow, I didn't expect this to be such a raid there. Wow, that's a really cool start there. I really got me energized. So let's go.
Awesome. Well, where are you in the world at the moment?
I'm based in Nairobi in Kenya, East Africa, at the moment. I've been here actually like almost 1.5 years already. Africa is exciting.
There's definitely a growing startup ecosystem over there that you just see more and more and more people, launching investment firms to start pouring money into that economy, which I don't know what's going to happen, but in 10 years time, that's going to be a completely different place.
That's what they say. Africa is rising, like, and I definitely want to be here, like, while it's happening, like, so exciting time to be around.
Yeah. Well, before we get into the emails today, tell us, what are you working on at the moment?
So last year we started a company that helps other digital nomads to come to Africa and discover it stress free. So basically, it's like a subscription platform that you sign up on, and you have within our network of homes that are ready. Work ready so that you can actually like just plug and play. You can come and discover East African countries first, but our aim is to like go actually a little bit further throughout Africa later on. And the idea came to be when before I arrived here, I was a little bit apprehensive, like Africa, like although I've lived in 5 continents before, that this is a little bit scary. I don't know like where to start, like is the infrastructure going to be here and all that. And we decided with my co-founder Alex that we're going to fix it and make Africa really easily like discoverable for people that can choose their location and work on the go.
I love it, man. It's obviously a problem that you face the pain of yourself, which is always, a great way to start a business. But before we jump into too much detail there, let's jump into the questions today. So question number 1 is called feedback for a B2B product. I've developed a social media analytics tool that is intended to be used by those that are interested in running social media accounts. This would include those who work at agencies, influencers, and businesses. I've tried going through my network and doing some cold outreach, but haven't been able to find someone to test the product and provide feedback. Can anyone provide some ideas for good ways to go about this? What are some good ways to actually get feedback for a B2B product? And this is by Go Lightly Fitness.
Interesting. So like getting feedback, is one of the things that like any entrepreneur, wants to get as quickly as possible, right? And especially good, like when the feedback is in the form of money, so that like actually like people start to pay for your product. So it really validates that it's something that it's needed. But B2B, that's a tough one, because like most of those like feedback questions are like usually like happening, like B2C, and then like it's more like running ads, and you will just find your audience sooner or later. I guess it's also, like just like narrowing it down, who is your audience, and like if you have like any traction already, like with some companies, like then just like build some kind of a case study and approach, we'll just like starting to snowball from there. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I think getting narrow on exactly who you want to get feedback from is a great way to start. And they've said like they want to get feedback from people who are interested in running social media accounts. So that's you've narrowed it, but go down deeper. Like, is it the influencers? Is it the businesses? Is it the agencies? Like, who is your product specifically for? Because it can't be for everyone. But maybe you're early enough in the piece that you actually just want to get feedback from everyone and work out who it actually best fits for. And that's also a good spot to be. Now, Go Lightly has said they've reached out to their network and they're struggling to get anyone to test the product and to provide feedback. I just say you're not trying hard enough. That's not trying. If you care, just go harder. Do way more cold outreach. If you need feedback, just do so much cold outreach it makes you feel sick. LinkedIn, in my experience, has about a 5% conversion rate. So if you've reached out to 100 people, 5 people should have responded. They don't need to be in your network. They can be randoms, If you said businesses or influencers or anyone in this space, find the archetype and just go nuts. I think you can add like 200 people a week on LinkedIn or something like that. So do that. Just go crazy. Also, there's all these services online that provide emails for you. You just pay for a service, $20 a month, and you can get all these emails. Do that as well. Just go absolutely nuts, and just reach out to tons of people. And then
And also,
I would just say as well is that,
there you go.
yeah, jump in.
I just wanted to also note that I don't think that like always, like your personal network is the best. Like maybe it's the like most convenient, or like it's something, like that you can actually like reach out like most quickly, but doesn't mean that it always is actually like the best feedback. Like because lots of your friends, like I'm sure, Joe, that it's happened to you as well. That like whatever you're doing, then like people are like, yeah, like we like you, like so your business must be like awesome as well. But it doesn't always mean that like it is, right? So I guess it would be like almost good to A/B test what kind of feedback you are hearing from your personal network, and what kind of like feedback you're hearing from people that are like few links away from you.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. I think your personal network's actually very much a flawed approach. And maybe there are people in your network can make introductions for you, but everyone in your network cares about you, so they probably don't want to upset you, and they don't want to, give you really honest feedback. So start there if you can, get the reps in where you feel a little bit more comfortable, but just cold outreach is the best. Cold outreach is how you grow a business, in my opinion. Investors are going to come from building a network. That's going to come from cold outreach. Clients and customers are going to come from cold outreach as well. Like it's just always the place to start to gain that initial momentum. Also, if you're talking about people that want to run social media accounts, go to their social media accounts. Every social media pretty much has a messaging function. So go to Twitter, go to Instagram, go to YouTube. There's always a way to reach out to them and just go through that. So just find, what's the right size social media account that you care about? Is it massive social media accounts or is it small social media accounts? Find them and then just outreach until you have that critical mass. And when you are talking to people as well, ask them for introductions. Say, who else do you think I could speak to? Do you have anyone in your network that would be good? And then that's how your kind of network will start to build there. Every time I ask someone on this podcast, I ask them, who else do you think would enjoy coming on this show? And that helps me get more and more guests and opens me up to a bunch of people I never knew about as well. So I just think cold outreach is the only way to go about it. And it's just painful, you know? If you don't like cold outreach, it's painful. But I love it. I love cold outreach. I talk about cold outreach so much on this podcast. It's the number one way to get feedback. You just got to do a shitload of it.
And also you get like honest feedback, like if your product or service is crap, like people will tell you. And also, like I would focus on like figuring out like what's the hook, what is the like a one thing that you ask people to do, because like when you just like send a link and like ask somebody to sign up for, and they don't even realize like what it's for, or like what's in it for them, then it's very hard actually, like we all, and especially like nowadays, like we all get like so much spam, and it's like getting increasingly harder to figure out, like which is something that is real and which is something, like that I should actually avoid, so let's just like be human, but at the same time, like very very concrete as well, like what is it, like that you want people to do, and don't ask so much, it's just like ask them to like do, like simple thing, either like use your product, or like like fill a quick survey, or just send a referral to somebody else, like when this is not really for you.
That's a good point. I guess, there's a lot when I say cold outreach that I mean that I haven't necessarily said. Cold outreach, in my opinion, does not mean mass copy and paste. It means, find the person, what's interesting about them, and send them a custom message. So it's slow, but you need that to get the kind of conversions. And I would say that, people love helping you. So if you ask someone for help, a lot of people, if they have the time, they will take that time to help you. So my approach is, if I was in your position, is that I'd find a really long list. I'd make a really long list of people that are going to be a good fit for me. Then I would send them all a customized message. Not the whole thing has to be customized, but at least a third of it has to be customized, I think, to them about why they specifically are the right person for this. And I personally would never send a survey link. Because to me, if I got that, it's too impersonal, and I would just immediately ignore it. But I would say like, hey, Cristo, like, I see you've done XYZ in your career. Like, I'm building this thing. I would love your feedback on it. Would you mind jumping on a call with me for 10 or 15 minutes? I'd love to buy you a coffee. And like, that will increase your conversion rate. I think having a conversation is the most effective way to do it. And then you can get the most amount of information out of it as well.
Yeah, I totally agree, and it shows also that like you, as one that is reaching out, has done some field work, right? Like you have done some background in like research, right? And you understand who are you talking with, and of course we all know that like when some letter or email starts with your first name, like then it's still like all automized, right? Like it doesn't really like make you feel special. But when you actually like really like see like a couple of things, like that, like not just like any robot, like I would pick it up, like from your profile or from your social media account, even like referring to like some of the content that like you liked on their account, like or something that like you have actually like taken some time, like to go through the feed. I guess like this will instantly get the attention that you need, and also like put you aside, like from all the spammers.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think we've given some good advice here. So let's go wrap this one up to a final judgment. So Go Lightly Fitness. You want to get some feedback for your B2B product, and you're just not trying hard enough. So ditch your existing network and just start hammering out the cold outreach. There's tons and tons and tons of cold outreach, hundreds of messages. Make them all customized. Work out who you're messaging, get very specific about it and why that person is important. Write them an email or a message or a DM that's specific to them, and ask them to get on a call and give you 10 or 15 minutes of time at a time that works for them. And if you want very specific feedback about how to write that message, read Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, because he talks a lot about how to write very effective emails to kind of break through the barriers there that you'll come up against. And that's it. We're going to close that one out. So Go Lightly Fitness, you have been advised. All right. We'll move on to the second question here. So the second challenge today is called Weird Dilemma. Friend tells me about a security vulnerability and refuses to elaborate. I recently launched the first version of my product, which collects some personal information from users. One of my friends, however, tells me that he has found a security issue but wants me to pay him money before he tells me. I'm currently bootstrapping the whole thing and have no revenue and only about 10 initial users. I can't afford a C Corp or LLC at this stage. I tried my best to figure out the issue but still couldn't determine what it was. What would be the smart thing to do here? My friend refusing to elaborate, and I don't think he's pulling my leg. Should I shut down operations or let my users know, completely tarnishing the product I worked so hard to build, or just forge on? This is from Dead on the Trident.
Wow, that's a first, like your friend is not really a friend. It's like pretty much like just like blackmailing you. And also, like you can't figure out, like is it really like a thing or not? Yeah, that's something that I can't even imagine happening to me. Like what kind of a friend is that?
Yeah. I think that, Dead on the Trident, I'm sorry, but your friend's a dog. Your friend should be dead on the Trident. I hate your friend. Like, fuck them. They absolutely. That's just the shittiest thing to do. And honestly, I bring this up a lot. I think this kind of stuff happens in the startup industry a lot because people see these massive success stories of Discords or Slacks or Rubers, and they just think, you're rich, give me money. But at the end of the day, the vast majority of startups fail, and they need as much help as possible at the beginning. So if this person really is a friend, they should tell you the vulnerability, and then they should sign up and pay you to be on your product to really support you as a friend. So this person isn't your friend. Like at the end of the day, I hate them. And you send them this clip because they're a dog. But you're in this position now, and there is potentially a security vulnerability that you need to work on. So I guess if we take the friend aside, Chris, though, how would you deal with the security vulnerability? Should they just ignore it? Should they tell their users? Where would you go from here?
Yeah, it's like as they have only like pretty much like a 10, maybe now after the friend removal 9 users, then it's like still like a quite a tight group, like so I would be honest with them, like and actually like send it out that like, hey, I've got this hint. I'm not sure, like is it true? But like just to be like frank with you, like because like you guys are all what I have at the moment, like let's figure it out together, like maybe somebody has like somebody in their network, like that are some cybersecurity expert or can help to figure out like what is the issue or is there an issue, and maybe go by that. Of course, like you might risk that like you losing some of the people, but like maybe they weren't true head fans like from the get go. Like if they are running away, like from after first warning, and also like a warning that has been like quite vague. So yeah. I guess honesty is the best policy, especially like when you don't have like millions of users, like to lose. And so yeah, I would go for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I just say, if you only have 10 customers or 10 users, sorry, they know it's a startup. They know shit's going to go wrong. Like these are the very early adopters, and they know that it's not going to be a smooth ride, but they want to be on the front of that curve. So I think it's okay to tell them, and I think transparency is always going to win. I think you'll always get found out if you're trying to lie and you're trying to hide stuff. But I would probably take, a considered approach to this. First of all, I just would tell people, like that's number one. Like you got to tell people. But I think you could probably find out what's wrong with your platform fairly easily. The first thing I would do is that, even though it kills me to do this, is I would just tell your friend, like, I've got $50. That's all the money I have. I'll give you $50 if you tell me. And if they don't, then just go to there are actually like platforms and marketplaces where you can get people to find the vulnerabilities in your platform. And I'd go to one of those, and you can probably get someone to find the bug for $50 anyway. There's a platform I know called Bug Crowd, and there's tons of these marketplaces where you can go and get people to deliberately like break into your product and see what's wrong with it. And you can get it pretty cheap there too, or post on Reddit, and get someone to find it on there. And the Reddit community would be more than happy to break your platform for you, for free, because that's what they do. But yeah, tell them and then do your best but just tell your customers, hey, here's the situation. Someone has told me this. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm going to do my absolute best to find it. And if anyone has any, information or people in the network that can help, let me know. And because you've got 10 users, I would probably just get in touch with them all individually as well. I think you've got time, and use this as a chance, as like a relationship building exercise. Because I always feel like the best relationships are built on when something has gone wrong. So have the conversation with them, and I think after this they're going to be raving fans, and they're probably going to bring more and more and more of their friends onto the platform anyway. Because I think these are the moments that make a company. They don't have to be the moments that break a company.
I love the last advice, like just like reaching out one by one, like, and especially, like having this luxury of not having so many users yet. That's really cool, because like you can actually like get it almost as a, or like use it almost as like a feedback session, right? Like what is good, what is not, like what are you excited about next, like yes, we have this issue at the moment, like, but we are a startup, like how do you feel about it, like do you know anybody else that like needs this product, like it's yeah, it's a good way to go about it. I love it.
All right. So we'll bring this one to a close. So we're going to give a final judgment here. Step one, tell your friend to fuck off and that you're not friends anymore. Fire them. This person is no longer in your friendship circle. The second thing is reach out to all of your users and have an honest conversation with them and say, hey, we might have a security vulnerability. We don't know. And here is how we're planning to fix it. And third is that use that as a relationship building exercise, get feedback from them, learn more about them, understand why they're using your platform, and use this as a huge moment to move forward, and use this as the stake in the ground, as how you build your business moving forward. And that's it. Dead on the Trident. You have been advised. And we'll move on to our third question today. So, challenge number 3 is called, how do I find a technical co-founder? Now, I figured this would be good for you, Cristo, because you have found a lot of co-founders over time. I've only done it once, and I kind of fell into it, so I'd love your advice on this. I've been searching for a technical co-founder for my event planning startup, but can't seem to find anyone to help build my MVP that I see myself wanting to work with long term. I found plenty of people eager to work with me that like the idea, but they either don't have the skills I'm looking for or aren't willing to make the time commitment. I need someone who would be willing to quit their job once it is up and running. I would love for it to be someone who's passionate about events, but all the devs I've found on LinkedIn just don't fit my criterion or wouldn't give up their nice corporate job and take on the risk. Where can I look? I'm afraid to post too much about what I'm doing anywhere and risk someone else taking it and missing my opportunity. Thanks. From Lexam01.
Okay, let's get going. This is a age-old question, actually. Like because like especially like when you would think that it's a big idea, then like sooner or later you will run into investors as well, and when you have only like commercial people on your team, like then they definitely will call you out that scalability is not really there without technical help. So my like one size fits all advice here is that like do something that like is truly impressive without tech, like just like like you have to have like some talking points, like that, like what is so impressive that like somebody wants to like quit their cozy corporate job, like you're like asking a lot actually, and without actually like without having to show something, it's a big ask. It's like, like good developers are almost like pretty girls in a bar, like they are getting approached left, right, and center. And, like if you don't have like anything to offer, then like they would just like, wave you off. And they should, because, like if they would sign up for like any product or project, like that is going to be pitched for them, then they either would go broke or just are a little bit crazy, because they need to like have the focus as well. So I would get the pitch ready. Like first of all, like why is this like a great business? What kind of validation or traction do you have? And also like who are you? Like why? Like it seems that that you're going like having like a huge criterion like on people or partner that like you're looking for, but like who are you? Like why you? Why are you like great in this like event space? I have a feeling, like that you have. Been playing in this field like for a while. Maybe the experience like plays into it. Maybe you have like some kind of like a big Rolodex like of customers that or brands that you've been working with before. These are all things that can be attractive. Also like some kind of like LOIs, like some kind of commitments, like from people that you are going to run events for, some partners, anything solid, some money in the bank, like that, people that like have already like pre-booked something, like that they trust you. I guess all this is really crucial. And then hopefully the tables will turn and people are starting to pitch you, like hey, why should I why should I pick me?
Yeah. I've never heard it put that succinctly, but I love it, which is just do something impressive first, and then people will come to you. So I love that idea that the more your idea is validated, the more people want to come and join your cause. And at every stage, you're going actually through this same cycle. First, you need to attract co-founders. Then you need to attract investors. Then you need to attract team. Then you need to attract customers, or whatever the ordering is. Like your whole job is to have a pitch and a story so attractive that people want to drop what they're doing and give their time and their money to you. So this is just your first challenge. And if you can't do it here, you're going to struggle and everywhere else in the journey. But there are ways to go about it. And I think starting with that validation earlier on is perfect. And you don't need a lot of tech to start your business. There are so many tools out there now that make stuff so easy. Like, you hear this all the time in the startup world. They say, make a startup page, pay for Google ads, and see how many people come to your kind of landing page and put their credit card details in. If you have a compelling enough pitch, like, your landing page will convert. And it's so easy to build landing pages now. Like, I was messing around with Wix recently, and Wix's website builder with AI is insane. You can just type in like a paragraph of text and it builds an entire website for you. So there's a lot of tools that can help you get set up. But even less tech than that, the very first version of Vigo was posters around a university saying, do you need a tutor? And then my phone number was on the bottom of it. And that was it, It was just physical printed out posters connected to my phone. It was a nightmare, but it started to validate the idea a whole lot more. And the more you validate something and prove that something is a good idea, the more likely are people going to join you on the journey. And one secret for you, Lexam, no one is going to steal your idea.
Exactly.
And like, no one gives a shit about your idea.
Nobody wants your idea.
I remember earlier on, I was so scared. Yeah. Like, you said you can't get people to come and join you as a co-founder because they don't fit your criteria. That's because no one cares. Like, your ideas doesn't mean anything at the beginning of the day, Until you've actually proven it and you have validation, it doesn't mean anything. The execution and the proof, that's where people are interested. And right now, you're saying no one meets your criteria. And like Cristo says, you don't meet their criteria. And it's because you're not even telling people your idea. Just post it loud and wide. And if someone starts to steal your idea, they might be the right co-founder for you. Because they see so much value in your idea that they're starting to do it themselves. So don't be afraid about telling your idea, because at the moment, it's just an idea to you. And because you're not sharing it, you can't find a co-founder. So it's always just going to stay an idea. And it doesn't matter if you've got the best idea in the world. If it stays an idea, it doesn't mean anything. So I just think never be scared of sharing your idea. Like, even now, I'm constantly meeting up with my direct competitors. And I tell them everything we're working on. And I'm trying to learn about what they're working on, because, I want to see how we can help each other. Because at the end of the day, we're all solving the same problem and we're all passionate about it. So I think transparency just always is the right choice.
I also believe, like that, like if your idea is worth anything, then this is actually like the greatest flattery, like when somebody's starting to steal it from you, like, but at the same time, like whatever they are doing, like based on your description, like you still have like upper end, because like you have thought about it, you have done some research, like however, like, good your description is, or like however honest you're going to be about it, like there's always like some things, like that you are going to leave out from there. So if you feel that like something is a secret sauce, leave it out, like just like get the idea across, like but this is the worst kind of people that are like, oh, I have this $1 million idea, but I won't tell you about it, like before you sign NDA, and like just quit your job. Like, who does that? That's like, like, let's get married, but I won't show you my picture, and like I don't want to meet you. Like, let's get married first, and then you will see. Like that's like doesn't make any sense.
There's a point of honesty and transparency and authenticity that you need as a founder and as a business owner. But I guess, if I talk more tactically about how to actually find the co-founder, say you're willing to be more honest and you've started to get some validation, I also think you need to just aggressively meet people. And this ties back to my other advice: cold outreach. Just go nuts. So I would just say start meeting as many people as you can, and you're going to meet a ton of people that aren't going to be a good co-founder, but that's okay, because the stronger and larger your network is in this space is going to be more valuable down the track. Start going to events every night. Start throwing your own events. Start co-hosting events. Start reaching out. Start having coffees. Just anyone that's in the startup space. I did this at the very beginning. Someone said that they were a startup founder. I met up with them. They were able to connect me to someone else. Like, it kind of snowballs and snowballs and snowballs, and you just need a really strong community and a really strong network that you can lean on, and your co-founder will kind of get shaked out of that network. I don't know, like they will fall out of that network as you go. So build a strong network, because that will always be super valuable to you.
Also, next to that, like just like doing more of the cold outreach, like don't be in the beginning so picky, like just like meet also the people that like seem wrong, because you never know, like somebody like on the paper, it might seem wrong, but like maybe you really like like get connected, like and feel that this is the perfect match, like so. And of course, like a skill level is important, like, but like depends also, what is the level. You can always like upgrade people later on, like when your projects are like just like taking off, right? Like you don't have to get somebody that is like the world's best at something, right away. Might take some time, like to find them, like, and even if you find them, like then like pitching them, like it's tough, because you have lots of competition. Everybody want them. But yeah, just go out, meet people, and just maybe a little bit lower your criteria first, because you can always, like tighten it later on when you have like too many people that want to be part of your project.
Yeah, that's a great point, because if you look at it like a set of scales, in reverse, you've never built a massive business before, so why do they want to join you? Like, they're lowering their standards to join someone earlier on, and they're taking a lot of risk, and you might need to as well. So just find someone who's got the right attitude and is keen to go into the startup world. And I know Lexem talked a lot about, these people don't want to quit their cush corporate jobs. Good. Those people don't belong in a startup. Like, you want someone who's willing to like live off scraps and work harder than anyone else, and they want that pain and growth that comes with the startup journey. So you're not going to get someone who's like an expert developer. You're going to get someone who's earlier on. My co-founder Steven, like, he'd never built an app before. He came in and it took him ages, but he worked out how to do it. But like, we could have never have done it, and we also didn't know how to raise money or do marketing or anything at the time. So you're all going to be earlier on, especially if it's your first venture. So look, I think there's a lot of good stuff here, but I'm going to bring this one to a close, and we're going to give Lexem a final judgment. First thing, and just really simply, like you said, Cristo, which is do something amazing. The more validation, the more clearer and value in a pitch that you have, the more likely people are going to join you. And because if you just have an idea, people don't care, and it's because your idea is meaningless without that kind of execution. So So just do as much of the validation as you can, whether it's through low code solutions or putting up posters around. There are ways to validate your idea, to get people excited about it, to get the right advisors, to have conversations, to get enough feedback. The second thing is lower your standards. Be realistic about what you're going to get. And the more validation you have, the better someone can come along. Like if you've convinced someone to give you $1 million in investment, that's a lot of validation. You could probably get a more experienced co-founder earlier on. But you're learning, and be okay with someone learning as well, because like it's a growth journey at the end of the day. And then the third one is just build your network, build your community, go hard at it. Events, cold outreach, everything you can do. Ask for introductions. Just build it as big and as far and as wide as you can.
Yes, and don't be
And that's
afraid of
it.
sharing your idea
XM,
as well.
you have been advised. Yeah. Do not be afraid of sharing your idea. That is the first most like obvious way that you will kill your company, is if you don't share your idea. So just be okay with sharing it. All right, and that brings us, Cristo, to the final section of the show.
There we
Plugs.
go. Let's go.
All right, so this is everyone's absolute favorite. I haven't had people telling me it's their favorite. I just think it's everyone's favorite. So tell us on your side, what's going on right now? What would you like to plug, Cristo? Any books you've been reading? Any of your social handles? Businesses you've been working on? Songs you like? Anything?
Yeah, so that's when we started, like, and you told me about this section, that I was like just thinking like, what can I tell you about it here? But like one thing that always like is very close to my heart is like just living in different cultures and like exploring something new. And I'm really fascinated, like how much I've fallen in love in Africa. And like if some people like haven't, and I think like most people like haven't been, then like just like start. Nairobi is like a great way to like a soft landing, like to Africa. I would recommend right away. There's South Africa. There's like a few other countries, like that people could go. So that's probably like my first and only plug to give you, like that. Like if you haven't been to Africa, then you haven't seen the like a very exciting part of the world, and especially like also like in a business perspective, like there's like lots of things that are still not done yet here, and there are like opportunities. Of course, like the timing is always the question. Like are the local environment like ready for everything like that you might have in mind, but hey, there is lots of people in Africa, like 50 over countries to choose from. I know that can be a little bit overwhelming, but like I started from the east first, and let's see what's going to happen like during the next years what I'm spending here.
That's my favorite plug of all of the plugs we've had so far. You didn't tell me to live in Africa, but I remember you gave me advice a few years ago, which was that just to try living in another country.
True.
And it has absolutely shifted my perspective in the world, starting in Australia, then living in London, and now living here. It's been crazy, It feels like the world is so much bigger, and I don't know, your life is so much different than what you expect. People are so different to what you expect in the best possible way. So I love it. I did that advice. It's really good. Also, I'm going to put all of Cristo's links in the show notes too. If you want to follow him on socials, that'll all be in the links as well to see where his travels are taking him. Also, Cristo just wrote a book. Tell us about that, Cristo.
So yeah, it's going to be like in Estonian, and it's going to be launched in like a couple of weeks or published. It's about my time in Malaysia. So it's pretty exciting for me. Like it's almost like a closing officially like one chapter of my life. Like, and actually like putting between like just formulating as a book. Like that's something that like if any of you have opportunity to do it, then definitely. It's not easy, but at the same time, like it's pretty exciting, because like you're reliving, like all this time, like that you were spending in a different country or like in a different situation, and also like reassessing yourself, like how much you have grown since then, and how the life, like that you're living now would have not been possible, like without those previous experiences, like so. So yeah, I never thought that I would do it, but I had opportunity, and I was postponing it for a couple of years. But then last year I decided that screw it, let's do it. You know, like it's once in a lifetime opportunity. Not everybody's writing a book, and it's something that I'm proud of.
I remember watching from the sidelines that you kept being like, I've kind of started, and then you wrote pretty much all of it in one go at the end of it, right as the due date was coming up, which I love. But look, if you can read Estonian, or you love Google Translate, get that book as well. um, and on my side, do not forget, like and subscribe and 5 stars, all of the good stuff. Do that for the show. You know, get out your phone, go on Apple Podcasts, like and subscribe, Spotify, like and subscribe, YouTube, like and subscribe. Do all of that. Go through and watch every single video we have, and then get out your friends' phones, your family's phones, steal a phone, like and subscribe on their phones as well. They're our favorite people who like and subscribe on random's phones. And then also, thank you to everyone who writes in. We love your problems. We love your questions. We love talking about these challenges. So if you have any other questions, any other fires, send them through to podcast@joelditrapani.com. Also, I've included a booking link in the show notes. So if you want to catch up with me, you want to talk through any of the problems you're going in your own business, I'd love to have a conversation. Just hit that link and book some time in my calendar. We're going to wrap this one up. So Cristo, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been great to actually have one of these conversations on camera. But thank you for arguing with me and laughing with me today. I've loved the conversation. And to everyone else, this has been another episode of the Do As I Say, Not As I Did podcast. We'll see you next week.